Hi guys, welcome back to Code Master Coach, your medical coding tutor. Guys, as promised today, I wanted to share with you some disadvantages of being a medical coder. Some disadvantages of being a medical coder. Now these are my ideas of what I consider disadvantages. As with any disadvantage or advantage, it may be different for you, or you may have already turned these disadvantages around, which is what my goal is today, is to bring them to your attention, and maybe you can make them work for you. So again, disclaimer, these are my opinion and my opinion only. It's kind of like a job interview where you go in and they ask you, well, tell us a little bit about yourself. What about some of your strengths and weaknesses? And one of the things I always teach my students, when you get to a weakness, identify a weakness that you had that you turned around. I tend to use the one of public speaking, fearful of public speaking. Therefore, I've worked on it really hard, put myself in situations where I had to learn to speak in public, and I turned my weakness into a strength. Well, let's look at each one of these disadvantages of being a medical coder and try to turn them around and make them advantages. So my first one says productivity standards. Depending on what company you work for, what area of healthcare you're working in, there are productivity standards. I can remember working ER coding remotely from home and knowing every morning when I got up, my expectation was 80 to 90 up to maximum of 105 charts a day. Well, an 8-hour period, because I was expected to do 15 to 20 charts an hour. And so if you would add that up, 15 times 8, 120 charts per day. In an 8-hour period I was expected to complete. And they take in consideration if you have difficult charts, or if material is missing, you started a chart, you can't finish it because physician documentation or lab reports, etc. are missing. But you're set to productivity standards. As a manager, I understand that my goal is to make sure I get the most amount of work out of each one of my employees. And so that's why the standards are set. They also help me determine how many coders in a particular area I need. So again, that's why standards are set. But as a coder coming in, I'd go ahead and number my sheets of paper, 120, and as I was working them, I would count them off. And it wasn't that I was so set on when I hit my 120 per day, I was going to end my day. But when I hit my 120 per day, I was going to end my day. So, and then I would try to do a little more some days. So productivity standards. To me, some days I just felt like I have something I got to do. I got to get through these 120 charts quick. Other days I felt like, you know what, I can do even more than 120. So productivity standards kind of felt heavy on my head every morning when I got up to do my coding. Number 2, audits. In the beginning, they scared me because I have, just knowing you have somebody behind you constantly checking behind your coding. And then once you get through your audits, your first audits, and prove that you're capable of doing the job, fine, it's no problem. And then every 90 days or so thereafter, you didn't even know they were auditing you, but they would be auditing you. So that was something that I had to look forward to. So audits can be pressure, but at the same time, I would like to turn those into my strengths, because a lot of times I could use that time to prove to my auditor my knowledge of coding. Because not only did I turn around and have my audit me, but I would audit my auditor. If she would mark something wrong and I kind of figured something wasn't right, I would challenge her, give me more information, teach me the mistakes that I'm making. Or I could turn it around even more and say, no, you might want to look at this and see that that guideline has changed. And so I always had fun. I liked my audits because they strengthened me as a coder. And so I would turn those audits into learning sessions for both me and for the auditor. But just knowing with coding, you will have audits. You have a certain amount, I think it was 95% when I used to work for a remote company. My goal was 95% or better on my audits that I wanted to achieve. And the company expected 95% or more. And so I always knew every 3 months or so, every 90 days, somebody was going to be auditing my charts. And a lot of times you don't even know it until you receive an audit that you were audited. So turn those audits into fun. Somehow make it fun. Because it can be challenging for somebody to come behind you and tell you what you did wrong. A lot of times you don't want to hear that. So when I would do something wrong, I would say, educate me. Show me what I'm doing wrong. Why am I doing it wrong? Or, no, go back and look again. So again, number 1, productivity. Number 2, audits. Number 3, cherry picking. Cherry picking. Cherry picking is when people go through and pick the easy charts. If you know you have to code 120 charts in an 8-hour period, you're going to go through and find the easy charts. At least that's what I experienced when I worked remote coding. And so I used to always say, you know what? I'm going to start earlier than the others. Because for some reason, when I would get on at 9, I'd have coders that had already been on since 5 that morning. And the charts that would be left for me would be the hard charts or difficult charts. Charts that would take me more than 5 to 10 minutes to code. And so I saw a lot of cherry picking. But I believe in karma. The bad charts gave me an opportunity to learn that difficult coding that the other coders didn't want. And it made me irreplaceable. Because I could code what the others didn't want to code. So, cherry picking. Make it work for you. Make it work. Jump on earlier and get your 120 charts done. Or take the bad ones and learn how to code them so that when they come back to you again, you've got it. It is not such a challenge. 4, sitting for long periods of time. 8 hours. Imagine sitting at a desk reading charts for 8 hours. You're sitting. I found one of those stand-up desks, but I didn't want to stand for the entire 8 hours. So I got a lift for my laptop computer, and I'll share that with you when I do a video on equipment that I use for my desk or for my office when doing medical coding. But I found a way to lift my computer so that sometimes during the day I could stand and sometimes during the day I could sit. But that 8 hours a day of constantly sitting and reading and researching and reviewing accounts, sitting kind of gets old. I gained weight. So again, that lift helped me because I didn't want to sit all day long. And every hour in the hour, I try to set a timer to get up and walk, whether it's walk to the kitchen and get me something to drink or walk to the bathroom or whatever. But I'm constantly every hour in the hour trying to get up and move. But sometimes I find myself sitting here 2 and 3 hours and realizing, oh, I didn't get up. I didn't move. And number 5, lots of reading. Guys, I buy lots of reading glasses. I have reading glasses in my car, in my purse. I have 3 or 4 on my desk. I even bought a reading glass kit to keep all my reading glasses in because my eyes get so tired from reading constantly all day long till I want to help my eyes whatever way I can in reading glasses. And what's bad, I have prescribed glasses that I'm supposed to wear throughout the day, but I will take my prescribed glasses off and put my reading glasses on because these readers, with them enlarging the print, makes it so much easier to read these charts. So now I'm trying to find Blu-ray with prescription in it so that the computer glare isn't so harsh on my eyes all day long. But again, those are my 5 disadvantages of being a medical coder: productivity standards, audits, cherry picking by others, sitting for long periods of time, and lots of reading, lots of research. Thank goodness my disadvantages are only 5, where my advantages were 8. So if that's how I'm feeling today, then I know I'm in the right profession right now. What about you? Can you think of any other disadvantages that I didn't name? Does this sound like something you might be interested in? Feel free to comment below. I'd love to read your comments. Okay, guys? Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.